Hi and welcome to Financial Education for the Nation. My name's Warren Shute and I'm here to talk to you about your emotions and are your investments misbehaving? This episode has been sponsored by Idealo, the price comparison website. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Are your emotions misbehaving? I regularly quote that we are physical beings run by our emotions, and I really mean that. I think that our emotions dictate how we act and how we think, and our emotions are affected by a whole manner of things. Nutrition and diet is being one of them, and our external influences as well. If we wake up and stub our toe, for example, we tend to carry on having a bad day. But when it comes to investing, what I really mean is our emotions play a bigger role in our investment experience than we might think. For the 20 years up until December 15, so a few years back now, but it's good data, it's 20 years up until December 15, the S&P 500, which is the largest 500 companies in America, returned an average of 9.85%. And if I look at the data now, the return is pretty consistent. It's about that. It's just over 9%. Okay. Now, 9%. So you would think then, okay, if I'm an investor and I invest in the S&P 500, I'm going to get about a 9.8% less fee. So if I'm paying maybe a 1% fee in total, I should be hitting late 8s, nearer 9%, something like that. Now you'd be way out of the ballpark. The average investor was returning around about 5%. And why is that? Why? Where is that gap? It's not fees, I can tell you that. It's not fees. It's investor behavior. When investing, we often behave illogically because we make decisions based on our emotions, not on the facts, not on the investment strategy, the investment philosophy. Study after study shows that investors like to buy when the market's going up. So if you're listening to this in July 2020, market's going up, are you getting excited? Are you wanting to be part of that party? Are you wanting to invest? Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but what's your investment strategy? Because when the market turns down, because it will turn down, it's not if the market turns down, I promise you, I know one thing in the last 25 years of doing this, the market goes up and the market goes down. Now, it goes up more than it goes down, hence why we have growth. But it goes up and it comes down. So when it goes down, are you going to become fearful and are you going to sell your investments? This is so common. And hey, I'll bring it back to home, okay? Hands on the heart, cards on the table. In April this year, we had the pandemic and the markets had a series of falls quite quickly. I think it was end of March, actually. I probably should look to the data before I start talking. So I wasn't planning on saying this. And I had to have a good look at my portfolio and think, what do I do? We've never experienced a pandemic before. Do I sell? Do I get out? Do I reduce my exposure? Because I was in some quite aggressive investments because I'm in the accumulation stage. I want to grow my portfolio. And with all big decisions, all big purchases, all big decisions, I always sleep on it. Because I believe the subconscious mind has the ability to make decisions for us, which are more aligned to our true values, as opposed to our conscious mind, which is more affected by our emotions. And when I slept on it, I woke in the morning, I realized that actually, do you know what? I'm really proud of the companies and funds that I own. And I was very happy to hold them because if I own them as a private owner, so if I own Lexington Wealth Management, if I own part of those companies as a private owner, I wouldn't be looking to get out of them. The only reason I was looking to get out is because other companies were falling and the market was pulling back, and there's a market for me to do that. And I realized at that moment that actually, no, this is behavioral finance. This is emotional investing. And that I needed just to stay alone, stick with the investment program, stick with the plan, and just carry on investing. So we're all affected by it. And, at the end of the day, what I would say to you is have an investment plan. That's one thing I looked back. I looked at my investment philosophy, my investment plan, and said, okay, this is where I was, this is where I am now, this is where I want to go, and this is what I was sort of lining out. So it's a big word, philosophy, but it just needs to be something very straightforward. What's your outcome? Why are you investing? What's the end goal? Where are you today? And what steps are you going to take along the way? What are you going to do when there is a catastrophe in the world, whether it's a terrorist attack or a pandemic? Because these things will occur. So your emotions are affected so much so that it affects or can influence our investment decisions. So we're often said that we buy more into the market when it's going up, and then some of us like to sell when it's going down. And that's a human reaction of we get overexcited and greedy, and then we get over pessimistic and fearful. And that's not what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to accomplish a boring long-term investment strategy so we get our fun and enjoyment outside of our investment portfolio as opposed to in it. But we can definitely overreact more during certain times of our life, for periods of uncertainty. So one time might be when we come into retirement. So we come into retirement, we're more pessimistic, more worried to make sure that we don't run out of money, because we know this income tap that we've had for all these years, 20 plus 30 years, is stopped, and we're now going to live off our portfolio. If we sell our business, we come into a capital sum of money. That can also affect our investment strategy. We have to reevaluate it and make sure we make the right decisions. And world catastrophe, so whether it's the financial crisis of 2007, whether it was terrorist attacks of 9/11, or whether it's the pandemic, which is more recent right now. These are things don't have to, but can affect how we feel and how we act on our investment philosophy. So really the whole idea is we have this investment plan which sits alongside our money plan, and it just dictates, okay, where are we today? How much money do we have invested? How much are we going to put aside? What's our asset allocation? How are we going to invest it? Are we going to invest into index funds? Are we going to invest some into direct equities? Are we going to tilt it to anything in any way? And what are we going to do when these occurrences happen? And we're going to review it year by year, because I know as your portfolio increases with value, that's another thing that often makes people more cautious. You know, losing 50% of, say, £1,000, so you get out of 500, is a lot easier for many people than losing 50% of 10 million. And the rationale often behind that is, well, I can earn £500 by going back to work and things. That's quite easy. I'm not easily going to be able to earn £5 million back. But remember, it's not a loss. It is a retracement. It is a pullback, and it is expected, and we should expect these things. It was very interesting. One study analysed over 10,000 trades from clients in a brokerage firm, and what they concluded from it is the stocks that they purchased underperformed the stocks that they sold by about 5% in 1 year and nearly 9% in 2 years. In other words, if they traded less often, they would have done better. And this study has been repeated numerous times across different markets and things, and the whole conclusion, percentages slightly different, has been the same. So basically, look at what you're doing, buy companies that you like, have a reason behind that, and don't change your mind often. You know, overconfidence causes investors to exaggerate their ability to predict future events. So in the run-up to the pandemic, we had a number of clients, not many, but a number of clients who wanted to get out of the market. And unfortunately, we actually said goodbye to one client because he wouldn't listen to us. And if we're going to give advice to people, we need you to listen to us, because otherwise there is no relationship, there's no respect there. And it's not a respect for ego's perspective, it's respect to protect you. You know, selling out of the market when it's going down is the wrong thing to do. Particularly when you have time on your side until you need to access the money. But you know, your overconfidence is a bias. Thinking that you know more than the market is a bias. Really, you need to diversify your portfolio globally and hold on to it. Saying with sort of hindsight, so looking at it and thinking, oh my God, the recent past has been terrible. It's going to be terrible going forward. But just like it's not a good idea to buy stocks in a climbing market, or sort of overload on stocks, should I say, in a climbing market. It's not a good idea to sell stocks or underbuy in a falling market. It's almost like you want the roles to be reversed: buy low and sell high. So one thing you can do to protect yourself from all this is work with a financial planner. Now, this isn't a plug for you to go out and get a financial planner, but if you feel that you have these tendencies to overreact and you need a sounding board, having someone on your side, a certified financial planner, is certainly going to help you guide you through these emotions a lot easier. Now, some of you don't want to work with a financial planner, and I respect that, and that's why we have the money plan, we have these podcasts and things to support you. But if you are thinking, actually, I could do with the financial planner, because they do a lot more than just investment, obviously, then go and check out my site, warrenshute.com, and we've got a link in there to a directory of certified financial planners. Now, a certified financial planner is a particular type of financial planner who is qualified not only just academically in the technical knowledge, so in other words, they've passed their pensions exams, they've passed their trust exams, in tax exams and investment exams, they've passed those, but they've also had to put together a financial plan, a case study under exam conditions, and submit it for scrutiny to be assessed by other financial planners. So not academics, by other financial planners, mark this. And it is a difficult exam. It is a very difficult exam. So as a kite mark, as a standard of quality, I often say to people, when I'm a certified financial planner myself, go and see a CFP, a certified financial planner, because they will work with you as a whole and they won't just focus on certain areas. But if you do want to do it alone, if you do want to manage your own money and you don't want to work with the CFP, I want to respect your decision on that. And I want to give you 5 things that I think you need to know when working on your own. So the first thing, do nothing. So a conscious and thoughtful decision of doing nothing is still a form of action. Have your financial goals changed? If your portfolio is built around your long-term goals, as it should be, and not your short-term goals, then the changes in the market shouldn't make any difference to what you're doing. So what I mean by that is you've got your long-term goals. So you're saying, okay, I'm going to retire at age 60 and I need £1 million. So I need to put X amount of money away every single year to achieve that outcome. And on a expected return of, say, 6%, 7%, 8%, whatever you work with, I should achieve that. Now, is that expected return commensurate? Does it reflect the portfolio that I'm in? So if you're 80% bonds, for example, 20% equities, and you're expecting the 8% return, it's possibly unlikely that you're going to achieve that. As a general rule of thumb, we tend to say about 10% of your equity exposure. So if you, it is a rule of thumb, please don't hold me to it, it's a rule of thumb. So if you're 80% equities, an 8% return is there or thereabouts the kind of thing you should be expecting. 100% equities is a sort of 10% return, that kind of thing. Okay, so is that commensurate? If it is, then great. So when the market goes down, these are average returns. Just keep buying in during this process. And then as you approach your retirement age, you might then have part of your investment plan a strategy to de-risk it. So you start accumulating or increasing your equity, your fixed income exposure from maybe 100% equities, and you should go to 10% fixed income, 20% fixed income, 30% fixed income, and the balance being an equity. So you're sort of ending up that sort of level. And what this does, it just de-risks your volatility of your portfolio and allows you to have a nicer experience through retirement. And through retirement, generally you should be looking around about a 60-40 split, a 60% equity, 40% fixed income. That's just a general rule of thumb. Number 2, I love this quote. Money is soap. Now this quote comes from economist Gene Farmer Jr., someone I've met myself and had a drink with. Incredible individual and very, very interesting and funny. And what he said was, money is like a bar of soap. The more you handle it, the less you have. Now, I just think that's fantastic. And it is true, isn't it? Because you don't move it from one place. Every time you transact something, there's a trade, there's a cost, there's what we call is slippage. So for example, you sell it one price, buy another, the market's moved, so you've kind of missed out on that change in the market. So again, get your investment plan down, what's your risk profile, what do you want to go for, and buy your portfolio, and step number 1, do nothing. Number 3, never sell equities in a downward market. You wouldn't rush to put your house up for sale if house prices turn south, so don't rush to sell equities when the bear's out, the bear being a downward market. Wait it out. So bear markets come and go all the time, more frequently than you might appreciate. Significant downturns in the market, in my experience, we can go back to the tech bubble of 2000, so that's now 20 years ago. I was starting out my career, and I'll confess that I don't feel I was as prepared for that as I possibly should have been. The financial crisis of 2007, 2008, when Northern Rock went bust, that I feel I was phenomenally well prepared for, and I helped my clients guide them through there. But that was another serious period in the equity markets, and the most recent, being the pandemic, wasn't as severe as I expected, and that's for another podcast. It's to do with how we don't live in a democracy now, we live in a quasi-government democracy, that they dictate how they want the markets to be, as opposed to allowing the markets to be completely free, because they pump so much money into the economy, and they learned from the financial crisis 2007. There was reports after that they wish they'd done more, and this time they certainly have done more, and they continue to do more. So the markets in 2000, 2007 retraced 50%, and I still say to people, expect a market retracement of 50% of your equity exposure. So if you're 100% stock market, expect your portfolio to pull back 50%. Although in the most recent time, I think it fell about 35% before it started rallying off again. Number 4, boring is best. It's academically proven that a disciplined approach delivers higher returns. Yes, it is boring, but it works. If you don't have discipline, you shouldn't manage your own investments. Now, I get this quite often. My clients say to me, hey, look, we get the returns. The portfolio's doing what you said. I understand what it's doing, but hey, come on, Warren, it's boring. Let's get some excitement in. Let's get some more higher risk stuff in there. And I don't disagree with that, but certainly don't move away from what we call your core and satellite approach. You have certain goals to achieve. Let's tick those first, make sure you're on target for those. Then you can start considering other things. And then a core and satellite approach means you have your core portfolio, I'd say roughly 80% in a boring portfolio, and then 20% of your money at most into the well-researched, well-looked into, sensible investments. Don't go just throw it at the wall in buying on a punt. It's not worth it. Buy sensible investments. And then number 5, the last of the top 5, diversify. Nobody can accurately predict the future, so spread your investments globally. We here at Lexington, we often get out what we call the patchwork quilt. I think I might have shown on previous podcasts, where it's the best performing sector or country in the previous 12 months, and it goes back sort of 20 years. And yeah, it's great. It's random. There's no country that's doing particularly well. You look and think, oh my goodness me, New Zealand is amazing. Let's load up on New Zealand, and then before you know it, New Zealand's at the bottom. It's the worst performing country. So globally diverse. You spread your money all the way around. There's no point in just thinking one country's going to outperform forever. So this started with emotions, because I'm very conscious that in the current market we could be a little bit confused. We're expecting there to be a recession, or in a recession, but we're expecting it to be worse than it is. We've got unemployment increasing, but the stock market just keeps going up. And what I say to you is, don't predict the market. Warren Buffett doesn't predict the market. Don't try it yourself. You just buy the market. Take on as much risk as you feel comfortable with, and that would be defined as 50% of the equity value expect as a retracement. So if you're 100% equity, expect at some point your portfolio to fall 50%. If you're 60% equity, at some point expect your portfolio to fall 30%. That's a rule of thumb. Look at that. And then from that you can expect, generally speaking, a 10% return of your equity exposure as a rule of thumb. I'm trying to give you guides here. Please don't hang your hat on them, because it's a moving beast and lots of things go on. But I do appreciate people like some kind of guidance, and because you don't have a Q&A option here, although a lot of you message me, You just want some things to take away. Okay. And then hold. Hold. And Warren Buffett is famously quoted as saying his favorite holding period is forever. Okay, so what was in the news this week? One thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is if you're entitled to receive child benefit, okay, you should at least make sure you've completed the claim form, because the entitlement to child benefit is not only the child benefit payment, but also qualifies you for national insurance credits, which can protect entitlement to state pension. So a real key thing there is if you have a couple where one of you go out to work and one of you stays at home, so it could be the lady going out to work and the husband stays at home, make sure the husband claims for the child benefit, because the lady will be out working getting national insurance contributions for her state pension, but he'll be at home not getting any, so he needs to get those credits. Obviously, if the roles reverse the other way around, if the husband's out at work and the lady's at home, make sure the lady claims for the child benefit so that she gets the national insurance credits for the state pension. It's very important. Also, I don't know about you, but one of the most exciting things when I was 16 was getting my national insurance card. I don't know if they actually get them anymore. Ugly colour they were then. I'm sure they're still the same colour. But yeah, it automatically issues a national insurance card prior to their 16th birthday. So that's two good reasons for doing that. Something else in the news this week, an analysis from money.co.uk is showing that households could save £8,600 on average if they stuck to their spending habits during lockdown. The site shows that 70% of households were averaging savings more than £220 per week. Now, this is a financial planner of me, okay? So that ping, there's a chap called Paul Etheridge who trained me all these years ago, and he always would say, so what? So what does that tell you? So that tells me that if they invested that money into a pension, got an 8% return, over a 25-year period, they would be looking in excess of £1 million saved. Sorry, £1 million fund. They would have saved that. They would have saved less than that, but £1 million fund in excess of. So if they'd have saved that £220 a week into a pension fund, got their tax relief, kept it going for 25 years, they'd have in excess of £1 million at retirement. I think that's pretty decent. So even if you got some money put away and you only save half of that, it's going to make a big difference to those glory years. Okay, this week's Q&A. So questions that came through this week. Question came through from a nurse, I think it was. I'm 35 years old. I worked for the NHS for over 5 years. I immediately joined the pension scheme. Good on you. And I'm still in it. Double good on you. Should I look to start a private pension? You are looking for a gold star. I'm impressed. I like it. My response was, have you repaid your unsecured debt and have you built an emergency reserve? So step one, let's get all that unsecured debt repaid. Car finance, credit cards, loans, the lot, get them repaid off. And now do you have between 3 and 6 months of your expenses on deposit? If you have, brilliant. Now split your excess money, the amount you're looking to put into a pension, 50-50. Let's put half onto your mortgage and half into your pension. If you've repaid your mortgage already, brilliant. Pop it all the excess into the pension. Just remember, you are limited to £40,000 a year, unless you're a particular high earner, or 100% of your earnings. All right, so if you are around that sort of level, just be careful. You will need to ask the NHS for a pension input amount statement. So every year from a defined benefit scheme, a final salary pension, it's not worked on how much you pay in as an individual, it's worked on how much benefit you derive from being a member. And that's known as the pension input amount. Deduct that from the 40,000, that leaves you how much you can pay into your pension up to a cap of 100% of what you earn. I've had a couple of these questions actually. The second question is one which has been quite familiar. I had a few of them come through, so I definitely have to mention it. I'm considering becoming a Spanish resident before the end of the year because Brexit is coming. Can I continue my pension contributions? Now, the fascinating thing here is so many people assume no because they think you need relevant earnings. But actually it's yes. You can continue funding a pension up to a limit of £3,600 a year gross. Remember, you pay pension contributions net and the tax relief is added. So that's £2,880 net. That's what you pay. And then the difference, it's £720, gets added. So it goes into the pension. Your contributions continue for up to 5 years after the year you no longer are resident. So if you left this year, that would be in the 2020, 2021 tax year, you've then got 5 years after that you can carry on. Remember to send your questions in to me. I do like to answer them. It's great sharing them with people like this. I pick a few out and share it on my podcast, but please send them through to warren@warrenshute.com. Okay, so the Smarter Spender section is supported by Idelo, the price comparison website. I only allow people to support me on the website and things of sites and facilities and services that I use or have used in the past, because I think it's so important. And Idelo is one of those ones that all my family use, particularly my kids and myself, when they want to buy an item. So my son might come to me and say, Dad, I want this new Xbox game. I say, oh, great, if you run it through Idelo. Yes, Dad, I've run it through Idelo because I do it every time you say, and here you go, look, here's the price. And actually, Dad, look, have you seen they've got a new feature here and it does the price change? So I don't know if you're aware. Great thing I really like about Idelo, and he does too, is you can see the price history, see how things are going. So that's where we get the data from. What's dipped in price this week? So lawnmowers are down 11% less this week than last week, and garden hoses down 16%. So hey, let's get doing some gardening. Lockdown, I really did enjoy gardening. Never enjoyed it before. Actually, really like it now. Computer mics are 18% cheaper than on average. But do you know what? When will the webcams become available again? They seem to have just sold out the whole world over. So I'm struggling to get hold of a webcam here. Idelo can't tell me that, unfortunately. But it can tell me how the price changes are going. Now, what is good to buy this week? Now, we've just come back from a couple of days, 3 days in the Forest of Dean, and we had a fantastic time. Camping, love it, it's great, really good. But I used to hate it, and one of the things I love about camping now is I've got an inflatable tent, so I literally pump up the tent, and it's done. It goes up in no time, and it's really easy to take down. So that's what I love. And guess what? July is the best month to buy camping equipment. So would you believe it? I find this hard to believe because I think everyone's camping, but apparently every year July is the best month to buy camping equipment. This is particularly true this year, given that more Brits are choosing to head to the social distancing countryside for their summer holidays rather than flying all over the place and getting quarantined. So, hey, look on Idelo, see what camping equipment you can do, and I can highly recommend an inflatable tent. So, also, it's great for sleeping bags and camping mats. They're also cheap this month. So if you're looking to get away on holiday, maybe it's a camping holiday, and hopefully we'll have some good sun as well. So all-weather activity toys are also things that are consumer spending this week. And a couple of things that they're looking to do is basically entertain the kids during the summer holidays. Kids are broken up summer holidays virtually all over the country now, I think. So what are they going to be doing? Joe Wicks is no longer on the TV, entertain us all. I think the guy's amazing. I love him. Just a really kind heart. If you don't listen to Desert Island Disc, just do this. Go and listen to his episode on Desert Island Disc. It is really good. I thought Desert Island Disc was only for old people, but this is amazing. But hey, active toys outside. Nerf guns, which I love, water guns, that kind of thing, and outdoor things like trampolines and such. Maybe even the space hopper. But sorry. Hey, just enjoy the summer. There's some great things out on sale as well. But this has been Financial Education for the Nation. My name's Warren Shute. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Remember, your emotions affect so much of what you're doing. Make sure you're consciously aware of it and stay safe. Until next time, take care.